Blackpool may be known for its bright lights, bustling attractions, and seaside charm, but beneath the surface of this lively coastal town lies a much darker, more sinister side. A place where the past refuses to rest, and the spirits of the long departed still walk among the living. From the haunted halls of Blackpool Pleasure Beach, where the echoes of Cloggy, a former ride operator, still resonates in the dead of night, to the eerie spectres of Weeton's Eagle and Child pub, where glasses fly and shadows creep. Blackpool has become a haven for more than just thrill seekers. Here, the thrill is often far more chilling than a ride on the big one. Step into the cellar of Blackpool's oldest attractions, where unseen hands move objects, and ghostly apparitions take the form of shadowy figures and forgotten children. This is not the Blackpool that welcomes tourists. This is the Blackpool where the dead have never truly left. Prepare yourselves for a journey through one of the most haunted towns in the UK, where every dark corner tells a story, and every gust of wind carries the whispers of the past. Welcome to Blackpool, a place where the thrills never end, and neither do the hauntings. The dazzling lights of Blackpool illuminations are a sight to behold, drawing millions each year to witness their brilliance. But once the season ends, the lights are removed from the promenade, their vibrant glow extinguished and stored away at the Blackpool Illuminations Depot, also known as Lightworks. Beneath the cheerful exterior of this display depot, however, lies a shadowed history that has earned its chilling reputation as one of Blackpool's most haunted locations. The building itself is old, far older than the bright modern lights it houses today. In fact, long before it became the storage space for Blackpool's iconic illuminations, it served as a stable for donkeys, a place of hard labour and, some say, quiet suffering. Now the atmosphere inside the depot is anything but tranquil. Staff working the night shift report strange, inexplicable occurrences that fill the space with a sense of dread. Cold spots appear without warning, often accompanied by faint whispers that seem to drift through the air. Too quiet to make out, yet unsettling all the same. Machinery flickers to life of its own accord, and eerie clanking noises echo through the empty halls, as though unseen hands are still at work. The most unnerving feeling, though, is the overwhelming sense of oppression, a heavy, almost suffocating presence that hangs in the air like the weight of forgotten sorrow. Paranormal investigators have ventured into the depot, drawn by the reports of the uneasy staff, and many believe the presence haunting the building belongs to a man named Ted. According to legend, Ted was a local sailor, a man who loved the sea but ultimately met a tragic end when his boat capsized, and he drowned in the cold, unforgiving waters. Some say his spirit, drenched in sorrow and regret, has found its way to the depot, perhaps drawn by the lights of the illuminations that mimic the flickering lanterns of long-lost ships. Those who have felt Ted's presence describe it as a cold and foreboding feeling, as if the deep chill of the sea still clings to him. Some have even seen flinting glimpses of shadowy figures, standing silently among the towering displays of storied lights. His eyes are hollow, as though they are still searching for something or someone that never returned from the waves. It is said that the longer you linger in the depot, the stronger the sensation becomes. Ted is not content to simply watch from afar. He lingers in the dark corners of the building, a restless spirit bound by tragedy. The weight of his despair presses down on anyone unlucky enough to cross his path, a reminder that not all the lights in Blackpool are meant to bring joy. Some cast shadows that stretch far into the unknown. Few places can stir the imagination with as much dread as a cemetery, and Blackpool's Carleton Cemetery is no exception. Known not just for its sprawling solemn grounds and towering headstones, this resting place carries a deeper, darker reputation. While it holds the remains of notable figures, like Coronation Street actress Violet Carson, famed organist Reginald Dixon, comedian Jimmy Clitheroe, and football legend Stanley Mortensen, it's not the famous names beneath the soil that draws visitors, or sends them running. It's the ghosts that haunt Carleton Cemetery, whispering of tormented past, grief, and something far more sinister. Perhaps the most unnerving presence is that of a woman seen near the cemetery gates. Pale and ghastly, her face takes on an unnatural green hue, as though death has clung to her like a second skin. Some say she is the spirit of a widow who met a violent end nearby, beaten to death within sight of the cemetery, her tormented soul forever tethered to the place of her brutal demise. Witnesses report an overwhelming sense of dread when she appears, her hollow eyes fixed on those who dare to gaze upon her spectral form. But she is not the only haunting the cemetery's threshold. There are whispered accounts of an old man, his features twisted and exaggerated, his eyes sunken deep into his skull, long dark hair clinging to his gaunt face, and a prominent hooked nose that gives him a bird-like appearance. He has been seen loitering just behind the cemetery gates, watching, waiting. His presence is said to be suffocating, a force that chills the air around him. One chilling report comes from a local taxi driver who swore that this apparition suddenly materialized in front of his cab, causing his passengers to panic and flee the car in sheer terror. The driver could only watch in disbelief as his terrified fare disappeared into the night, unwilling to return. The spirits that linger in Carleton Cemetery seem not only restless but vengeful, bound to this world by anger, sorrow, and perhaps something even darker that defies explanation. What draws them to this particular patch of earth is unclear, but one thing is certain: those who visit may leave with more than just a memory of crumbling gravestones and the weight of history. They may leave with a chilling sense that they were being watched by something long dead, but not yet at peace. Located just a short drive from Blackpool, in the quiet, unassuming village of Weeton, lies the Eagle and Child pub, a seemingly ordinary establishment that hides a dark and unsettling secret. Though it appears to be a cosy village pub by day, at night it transforms into a hotbed of paranormal activity. Frequent patrons and staff alike have reported inexplicable occurrences: glasses thrown violently across the bar, chairs shifting on their own, and cold drafts that sweep through the room despite the door being tightly shut. Objects seem to move as though guided by unseen hands, and the air carries an eerie tension, as if the pub itself is waiting for something, or someone. One of the most infamous spirits said to haunt the Eagle and Child is that of a man named Murph, a former highwayman with a notorious past. Murph was no ordinary thief. Legend has it that he preyed upon unsuspecting travellers along the winding country roads, robbing them of their valuables before vanishing into the night. But his luck eventually ran out, and he met a grisly end. Some say he was hanged for his crimes, while others whispered of a more brutal fate at the hands of a vigilant mob. Regardless of how he met his death, his restless spirit is believed to have taken up residence in the pub, where his presence is felt most strongly after midnight. Patrons have often heard the disembodied sound of Murph's low groans and muttering echoing through the bar, as if he is lamenting the life he once led. His ghostly figure has been spotted lurking in the shadows, a faint, menacing outline that vanishes before you can get a good look. Some say that if you listen closely in the dead of the night, you can hear him speaking in a raspy voice, cursing his fate and warning those who dare cross his path. His poltergeist activity is relentless. He's been known to send glasses flying off shelves, slam doors shut with a deafening bang, and move objects around in the bar area as if still trying to steal something from the world of the living. His energy is aggressive, and those who have encountered him speak of a chilling, almost suffocating feeling, as if Murph is trying to pull them into the darkness with him. But Murph is not the only ghost lingering within the walls of the Eagle and Child. The pub is also said to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl, whose presence is far more sorrowful, but no less disturbing. She is believed to have died within the building under tragic circumstances. Though the details of her death remain shrouded in mystery, some say she was the daughter of a former landlord, while others claim she fell victim to a terrible accident. Her apparition has been seen wandering the hallways, her small figure dressed in old-fashioned white gowns, her face pale and sorrowful. Witnesses often feel a deep sadness when she is near, as if the weight of her untimely death still lingers in the air. She is known to play small, innocent pranks, like knocking over bottles or leaving tiny handprints on windows, but there's always an underlying melancholy to her presence. Sometimes patrons hear her faint giggle or the sound of light footsteps running across the floorboards, but when they turn to look, the room is empty. Paranormal investigators who have visited the Eagle and Child say the pub is one of the most active locations they've ever encountered. The combination of Murph's malevolent energy and the young girl's lingering sadness creates an eerie contrast. Two souls trapped in this world for very different reasons, yet both forever bound to the pub. Those brave enough to visit after dark may feel the chill of a ghostly touch, or hear the unsettling sounds of the past echoing through the present. But be warned, once you've experienced the spirits of the Eagle and Child, it's unlikely you'll ever forget the terror they leave behind. Blackpool Pleasure Beach, one of the UK's most famous and beloved attractions, draws millions each year with its bright lights, exhilarating rides, and seemingly endless array of entertainment. But beneath the cheery face of the roller coasters and carnival games lies something far more chilling, a dark undercurrent of paranormal activity that has left visitors and staff alike unnerved. For some, the thrills of the pleasure beach come not from the rides, but from the spirits said to haunt its grounds, lingering in shadows long after the park is closed for the night. One of the most infamous ghosts haunting Blackpool's Pleasure Beach is simply known as Cloggy. Ironically, Cloggy's chosen haunt is the ghost train, a ride meant to scare its visitors with fake spectres and ghoulish decor. But for many, the real fright comes from Cloggy himself, a former ride operator who in life was known for wearing clogs that echoed with each step. Even after death, the distinct sound of his footsteps can still be heard, the unmistakable clatter of wooden shoes reverberating through the eerie darkness of the ghost train. Many visitors and staff report feeling an unsettling presence before hearing the rhythmic clomp-clomp of clogs on the wooden floor, growing louder, as if something or someone is drawing closer. Despite thorough searches, no one has ever been found, yet Cloggy's presence is undeniable, a spectral figure who refuses to leave his post. But Cloggy is far from the only restless spirit wandering Blackpool's Pleasure Beach. In the park's labyrinth cellar beneath the attractions, a male figure has been seen. His wild, untamed beard and piercing eyes reminiscent of Karl Marx. This mysterious apparition, often glimpsed by staff during night shifts, is unsettling not just because of his stern appearance, but because of the heavy atmosphere he leaves in his wake. A suffocating feeling that something is watching from the darkness, just out of sight. Some believe he may be a former worker or visitor lost to time, but unwilling to depart from the land of the living. Reports of shadowy figures, commonly referred to as shadow people, moving silently through the pleasure beach are frequent. These dark, faceless entities slip between rides and behind walls, always in the periphery of one's vision. They seem to belong neither to this world nor the next, as if they are trapped in liminal space, doomed to wander forever. Some describe seeing them on the edge of the park's attractions, watching in silence as visitors pass by, unaware of the ghostly eyes upon them. One of the more disturbing apparitions is that of a woman seen drifting through the walls of one of the bars on the premises. Dressed in old-fashioned attire, she appears with a cold, distant expression before vanishing into thin air, leaving behind only an icy chill. Pictures frequently tilt or fall from the walls as if they have been knocked down by unseen hands, and lights flicker on and off with no explanation. Those who work late often hear a disembodied woman's voice, humming a mournful tune, echoing through the empty bar long after closing time. No one can pinpoint where the voice comes from, yet it lingers in the air, wrapping the room in an eerie tension. Recently, sightings of a young girl around 9 years old have increased near Sir Hiram Maxim's gift shop. She is often seen wandering amongst the shelves before disappearing as quickly as she appeared, leaving behind the strange sensation that something isn't quite right. Objects in the shop have been known to move on their own, sometimes rearranging or thrown to the floor without warning. Staff and visitors alike have felt a sudden coldness when the girl appears, and many believe she is responsible for the strange activity in the shop. The park's ice skating rink is another hotspot for paranormal encounters. The chilling sound of skaters gliding across the ice can be heard even when the rink is empty. The phantom skater leaving no trace behind. Equipment and lighting have been known to malfunction, often switching off without reason, and tools inexplicably move across the floor. Doors slam violently with no cause, and staff frequently report feeling an overwhelming, oppressive presence near the rink. A sensation so strong it forces them to leave the area altogether. It's as if whatever haunts the ice rink is waiting, lurking just out of sight, reliving a performance long since forgotten. Blackpool Pleasure Beach may be famous for its thrills, but for those attuned to the paranormal, the true excitement comes after dark, when the spirits of the past awaken and the amusement park transforms into a haunted playground where the dead walk amongst the living. As the lights of Blackpool fade, the spirits remain, forever bound to places they once knew. From the restless echoes of highwaymen and lost children to the eerie presence of unseen hands, these haunted corners remind us that not all who visit Blackpool leave. Some are still waiting, watching, lingering in the shadows. So the next time you find yourself walking through these streets, or catching a ride after dark, remember, you may not be alone. Perhaps in the whisper of the wind, or the clatter of unseen footsteps, you'll hear them too, the spirits of Blackpool, watching from the other side. Good night, and sleep well if you can, and don't be afraid of what's behind you.